Hi, everyone. This is Zach Rubin, and I'm the Executive Director of the Alumni Learning Consortium. I'm here with Jamie Sennett and Stephanie Duquenne from Illinois State University. Jamie is the Director of Campus Constituents and Athletics, and Stephanie is the Director of Homecoming, Reunions, and Advocacy. And Jamie and Stephanie will be presenting today on the really impressive transformation they've helped oversee for the last 15 years to better connect alumni relations, the campus community, and their local community to just dramatically improve relations across the wider campus and town beyond. There's definitely going to be time for questions. So as you have them, please click the Ask a Question button below the video, and you can enter those throughout the webinar. And I just want to, again, thank Jamie and Stephanie so much. I'm really excited to have the two of you present today. And I've actually seen Jamie and Stephanie present on this topic before and found it really interesting, which is why I was so excited to have them featured today. So let me hand it over to the two of you here.
That's great.
Thanks, Zach.
Well,
okay.
We're going to have Jamie, you're going to kick off the first chunk. So I'm going to drive the PowerPoint while you go ahead and get started.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining us today. We obviously enjoy talking about this very topic because it has been sort of a labor of love between Stephanie and myself for several years, but it has been one well worth it. So first, we're going to talk a little bit about where this all began. So if you want to look at about 15 years ago, at our campus, frankly, our campus, other than the alumni office or university advancement, the rest of campus really wasn't involved in alumni engagement in any sort of real way. We worked very separately in our initiatives. There was some advisory boards, there were a few other alumni networks, but it really was considered the task or the job of the alumni team to engage our alums. Campus really didn't see it as their job. I know many universities have come a long way in this as far as recruitment, so it was the same sort of mentality. Like it was admissions job to recruit, and it was alumni relations job to work on alumni engagement. At the time, our homecoming celebration was really led by a committee of 4 people, which I believe 2 of which were students from a student organization. The other 2 were some event staff just to help oversee some logistics. But the overall coordination really was not very inclusive of opinions or solicitation of any sort of input across campus. So now, where we've come over with lots of different initiatives, we are now at a point where our campus is very involved in alumni engagement. Almost every college has a designated individual that is responsible, at least partially, for alumni engagement in their role. And I work with those folks very carefully. We work together very closely throughout the year to work on different initiatives and ways that we can collaborate. Our office, in fact, now rarely hosts events without at least one campus partner involved. It seems like everything we do sort of overlaps with somebody, so we might as well bring them in the fold, and they're very willing partners to do that. So I think right now everybody believes it's part of their job to engage alums and keep them engaged. How they do that is obviously very different, but not just university advancement is responsible for engaging alums right now on our campus, which is really, really exciting. We actually host regular, usually monthly or bi-monthly meetings with those campus folks that are coordinating some sort of alumni engagement. This not only helps us stay informed on what everybody's doing, but it actually allows them to share their best practices with each other. And what works for one college, for example, may not work for all of the colleges, but it at least allows them to hear what everybody's doing and what's working, and then adapt it to their specific contingency. And now our homecoming celebration is the single largest celebration for all the university. And we are very, very proud of that. And we dedicate a lot of resources, not only among our staff, but campus-wide to continue that celebration. It's truly an amazing marketing opportunity for the university, and it really gets our word out to both alumni, community, students, faculty, and staff. So we're very excited about where we've come. Okay, so how did we get there? It was definitely not overnight. And when I say 15 years, I've been here that long, and it has literally transformed within that time. So we have started with a couple different things, but to be honest, it really came from our vice president at the time. So 15 years ago, we had a vice president who really wanted to elevate university advancement and the impact that university advancement initiatives had on campus. So her goal, frankly, that she came to our alumni team with was to make homecoming the single largest celebration for the university. She wanted it to be seen as a marketing opportunity. She wanted the community to get engaged in homecoming. She wanted alumni, students, faculty, and staff to all have a stake in homecoming and see it as a valued experience. So we really took that as an initiative that we as a team really took on and wanted to make that our top priority. So given the fact that our leadership was on board, it really became university's advancement one of our top priorities as a whole, which allowed us to put resources, not only staff time, but we incorporated some new initiatives and some marketing things that required some financial support, and our vice president at the time was willing to do that. So we started with cross-campus discussions. We really thought that if this is going to be as big as we hope it is, then it really needs to be what is it that other people want. So we really did, for years, sat down with various constituents across campus and asked them their opinion. And we did a lot of listening and a lot of brainstorming, a lot of, if money was no object, what would you like to do? Those types of discussions to really hear what people wanted out of their homecoming experience. We then, when we started to try to implement some of those initiatives, we knew in order to keep them involved, especially our academic units, we really had to make it worth their time. They had to see what was in it for them. It's not technically a faculty member's job to encourage students to participate in homecoming. However, if they see it of value, they seem to be much more willing to do that. We had academic units, several departments and college level that we partnered on events and encouraged alums to come back. And we encouraged them to use the events that we were financially supporting, but to use them to invite alums to attend so that they saw benefit also in their alumni engagement, and hopefully following with some gifts potentially out of those sort of engagement opportunities. We offered to provide some resources as far as our staff taking registration for their events. A lot of our academic units were not equipped to take payments if there was a payment with an event. So we would offer to take those registrations on for them and help facilitate that process so that they could not necessarily have to offer just free events. We offered homecoming giveaways. We offered giveaways actually throughout the whole year, but specifically during homecoming time, we really thought, okay, if you have alums coming back to campus and you would like to provide them with a welcome gift, we will help you. It may not be something huge, but even a small token of appreciation and recognizing that alum for coming to campus. And so that was a nice touch. In return, what that also does is then we just ask them to let us know who it is that's attending so we can track that participation in our system, which is also very nice for our data transition. We would share best practices. We, as I mentioned before, as far as a committee that we have now, but we do it with any of our faculty or department chairs or college level deans as far as what we know works for alumni engagement and how to best use events, if that's the case, or communication tools, and what resonates and what really brings value to that alumni engagement initiative. We also help to coordinate those communication efforts. University Advancement oversees our email system on our campus, and as it goes out to alumni, I should clarify, and that really has helped us work with them to make sure that their communications are clear, are effective, and include all of the details to avoid miscommunications with alumni as they go out. So it really has helped us help them in their communication. We've shared case studies and examples of why engagement matters for alums. And once they've seen some of the outcomes where alums are then offering jobs or internships or mentorships for the students, usually once they start to see some of those outcomes, they see why it matters, and then usually we've sort of got them on our side, and they really want to continue to say, okay, now what can we do, and move on to different new initiatives. One of the things I recommend the most, though, is to not think that it's one conversation. Working with campus partners is an ongoing initiative, and with any campus, I know that turnover is an issue. So it seems as though you get a department chair or faculty on board, and then sure enough, you have transitioned for that position and you're starting all over. But it is time well spent. It is very time consuming, but it is an initiative, and we've seen the outcomes be well worth the ongoing conversations and time that it takes. We try to celebrate the small wins along the way, encouraging and pointing out that engagement isn't always necessarily event attendance, but it is sometimes the small things that matter in the bigger picture and make for those long-term relationships. So having patience is definitely a virtue in this endeavor, but here again, we are 15 years later, and we still try to celebrate those small wins and don't take for granted where we came from. So that's kind of where we're at right now. One specific example, as I brought up a little bit, is homecoming. And so Stephanie's going to talk a little bit more into homecoming as far as the community engagement side here in a little bit, but I just wanted to bring you up to speed on how we've engaged our campus in our homecoming initiatives. And it's sort of the gown part in the town and gown is what we so we want to make sure our campus is supporting it before we go out and ask our community to support it, because I think that speaks volume to our community partners. So we really are the central clearinghouse for all homecoming event information. We manage the website, we manage how the emails go out to alumni, and we really manage helping to promote their events in a coordinated effort. Again, what that does is it allows us to be a resource for our campus. It's not, we don't tell them what they can do by any means, but we do try to help in the coordination so that we as an entire campus look like we all are informed and are working cohesively together. And again, we want to encourage them that we are a resource and a support system to help them engage their alumni. The emails that go out at that time, previously, homecoming emails, there was a ton, and our alumni would get barraged with a bunch of different emails coming from all over campus. So in us coordinating those, they do highlight all of the various opportunities, but what we do is we offer to coordinate for the college so that those alumni from that college see their college events first, and then they can go down and see all the other opportunities that are happening. And the colleges really see that as a benefit for them. All they have to do is submit their event information, and then we kind of take it from there, and we send several emails out on their behalf. We have been doing a program called what we call our Alumni Day Luncheon at homecoming, which is always the Friday of homecoming weekend. And what we've done is offered to host a luncheon if any campus unit wants to invite alumni back to campus to participate in homecoming weekend. And they can choose how that alum is selected. In some cases, We have departments that decide to use it as their Hall of Fame recipients because they're honoring them during homecoming. Other departments use it as an opportunity to bring back some young alums or some alums that haven't been engaged recently. And others might just simply pick a donor that they would like to host for the weekend. But nonetheless, of how they decide, they submit their names to us, and we put together a nice welcome back to campus for homecoming, and then we host a really fantastic luncheon. It is definitely one that we honor them and celebrate them, but we also inform those alums about highlights that are happening on campus each year. It seems to be one of those things that not only highlights the homecoming experience for those alums being honored, but also our faculty and staff. It's one of those events now each year that everybody seems to see value in. So we are very grateful for all of their participation, and it really does make for a fantastic weekend for those alums. Each department then usually invites them to speak to classes or engage in their individual units. Each throughout the rest of the weekend, and then they can go to a football game and that kind of thing. So it really sort of adds to that alumni experience. And then we also have a tent zone around our football game. And so we host a large tent each year that is open for all alumni and friends. So it's really open to anybody, can stop in. We have some food they can get. There's a cash bar. There's all kinds of giveaways. And then each college also hosts a tent adjacent to us in the tent zone on homecoming Saturday. So it's really nice that we're all inviting alumni back. Alums can hop from the various tents. If they are a graduate from more than one college with 2 degrees, that's great. They can come and go. They can come in our tent. It really adds to that homecoming energy in the tent zone and the pregame fun. We also, as we're choosing homecoming themes, we try to think through various campus celebrations that are happening throughout that year. For example, we had a big year for our Gamma Phi Circus. They were celebrating last year, so we made our homecoming theme around that, which obviously everybody was excited about. And again, we chose something that the celebration would continue across campus and that everybody could take ownership in and feel value. It's not just something that comes from our alumni office. We really do take in consideration some of the other campus celebrations that are happening. And then the other thing we try to do is make it as easy as possible for them to participate. We realize the fall, we realize the fall is very busy for campus, and there's a lot going on. So for the fact that they dedicate time to participating in homecoming weekend is something we try really hard to make it as easy as possible. So we've created a resource guide for those folks that are helping to plan for their unit. Stephanie's bringing up our website here. And on this website, it is it highlights the various elements that they that they might be planning for. So if they're planning to participate in Alumni Day, if they have guests coming back and want to know about hotel information, if they're participating in our campus-wide decorating contest, it really is sort of a central location that they can go to and find out all of the different elements. That section there is highlighting the way that they can get included in our emails that we're sending out, or if they want to encourage folks to participate in the Town and Gown fun run and walk, or the parade. So we really try to say, here, this isn't something that's outward facing. This particular page is only available for our campus partners, and we want it to be more of a help on their planning guide. So if they're planning to participate in the tent zone, here's how you order your tent. If you want to nominate somebody for royalty, it really is sort of a planning guide, but it has been well received across campus as a one-stop place that they can go to find out all of their planning needs. And it frankly has eliminated a lot of questions that they would otherwise drive to our staff, because they check there first, basically. So that is just a resource that we've tried to, again, get out in front of everybody. So the results of all these initiatives over the last 15 years for homecoming specifically, as it relates to our campus, is, and we highlighted a few here. As I mentioned, that Alumni Day luncheon, we now have somewhere between 400 and 500 in attendance for that luncheon every day, and it's something that everybody looks forward to. The coordinated emails they have a much higher open rate, because alums aren't getting the numerous emails that they were before. They're getting the streamlined communication and have all of the resources there, so the opt-out rates are less and that type of thing. We've also seen an increase in overall participation because of our shared social media marketing efforts with all of the campus units. So basically, whether it's coming from the student RSOs, the faculty staff, the departments, the dean's office, homecoming is now celebrated as one of, for the entire campus. It definitely includes alumni, but it's not just for alumni. And our students' experience during this time now makes it one thing that they definitely miss when they leave campus. So again, bringing on that relationship as they graduate and become our alumni coming back. So they look forward to it for sure.
Thanks, Jamie. I'm going to talk about our case study that's a little bit more specific with our town and gown partnership, and how that effort got started and some of the results from that. So the background that led to our effort of really putting energy into building a more positive relationship with the town that surrounds Illinois State University, there was a long history of separation. Just a little bit about Illinois State University and the town of Normal that it lives in is that the university was here first, and the town developed around the university. And back in the day, like 1950s, 1960s, it was very separate. We even had, the town of Normal was policed separately. Then the university property was policed. So it was a very much of a, that's them, this is us, students stay where you're at. The town's going to do things in a different way and not necessarily support the university. So there was a long history of just not being unified. And this went on and on until probably closer to the late 80s and 90s. So really not that long ago. Then there was in the 2000s a real big effort to rebuild Uptown Normal, and Uptown Normal is adjacent to Illinois State University. We share streets. So during that time of rebuilding and regrowing and sort of restructuring and rebranding the Uptown environment, there was a lot of opportunities to partner with ISU and really develop the town of Normal so it was very college friendly. And at that point, a committee was identified to assist with this effort. This committee was called Redbird Pride, and it consisted of folks that represented the town of Normal, the marketing folks in the town of Normal, business folks in Uptown Normal, and it also consisted of folks on campus, so our marketing people on campus. This is a group that Jamie sat on to represent homecoming in campus relationships. So it really was the first time a committee was pulled together that was a specific town and gown relations effort to make it a dual benefit for both ISU and the town. So, like I mentioned, it was a group of community members, and it was tasked with dedicating to strengthen the partnership between ISU and the community. The goal of the group was to identify in specific ways that those partnerships can be strengthened. the makeup of the group, we wanted to make sure that it was diversified. It wasn't too town heavy. It wasn't too ISU heavy. So all voices were heard. And some of the initial first charges was just to identify a way that separation could be eliminated. And so somebody, say a parent, came in on move-in weekend, you really got this feeling that you were in Redbird territory. We wanted to ask and see how the businesses in Uptown wanted to support that effort, and what did that look like, and how can we partner so the cost of supporting those efforts didn't just fall on the business owners or the marketing department of the town. So those were some initial thoughts and charges. Some of the things that came out of those first talks were this concept that you wear red on Fridays. Students know that this is something that has now become a tradition. I've been at the university for over 11 years, not counting my undergrad and graduate programs, but I have never not worn red on Friday. I would feel like I was like breaking some sort of ISU rule. So it's just a known thing now. And also the local businesses do that. If you're a business in a bookstore in Uptown, you're a coffee shop in Uptown, you are wearing something ISU on Friday. It's just the culture now. So it was a rebuilding of the culture. And those little things just help build relationships and help build this positive connection between the university and the town. We also developed these vehicle decals that you can see in that picture, and it's our mascot's profile. So it's a very recognizable symbol here for ISU in the town of Normal. And we handed those out everywhere. So the businesses agreed, no cost to them. The university obtained those costs to make those because we realized the importance of it, and gave our local businesses stacks to hand out. You're having a community event, here's a chunk of these Redbird heads to make sure they're on your table so people can take them. So again, it was just another little thing that didn't cost much that we could help what we call spread the red in our community. We also did this with community yard signs. So we had those available for all the businesses to hand out if they want. We encouraged folks that lived in Normal to request one and get one delivered to your house, just so again you knew you were in Redbird country. So another small little thing just to build this relationship. This one's kind of cool. We did Redbirds on the street. So this is something that was driven by the streets department in our town and our marketing and alumni engagement departments on campus. So we identified the main streets of the town that surround our university, and we spray paint Redbird heads on them. If a particular business wants a Redbird head in their parking lot, we go and work with the town, the streets department, to make that happen. So another cool thing, you need stencils, you need the manpower, you need the paint, but those last for a long time, and they really are little footprints all around our university to give that positive Reggie feel. Some other things is an event that we do called Comm University. So this is a partnership with our athletics department and our community, and specifically with the Chamber of Commerce in our community. So it is a tailgate that takes place before one of our home football games. And the tailgate space is dedicated to community partners, chamber members who want to purchase a tent space and host clients, host community supporters. It's a great PR initiative for our chamber members. The tents and the resources are right at their hands. Athletics arranges all that. It's a reduced cost for them. And it's also a fun little competition. So all of the tents get judged, and the one that has the most Redbird Spirits is our grand champion, and there's a fun little competition between our chamber businesses. But a lot of our chamber businesses use this to host some of their larger clients as a fun way to get together, and they're bringing them onto the ISU campus and bringing them to the football game. So it's a great benefit to ISU, and it was a really easy thing to do. Identify a football game and a tailgate option and make it happen. It's not something that's very difficult to do. And it's super, super fun. It's one of my favorite tailgates. Of course, homecoming is my favorite, but we'll give it to Comm University too. And then, as Jamie explained, several things that we do with our homecoming celebration. Lots of that is focused on campus and with our alums, but there are some specific things that we do to partner with our community. One thing is window painting. So we have a registered student organization on campus called Student Alumni Council. And in normal times, typically they'd be reaching out right now to ask if the businesses would like their windows painted that Sunday before homecoming week. And also, would you like to help sponsor the Town and Gown 5K? It's one ask. They can mark on an electronic form, yes, I would love my windows painted, and yeah, I will support the 5K at $500 or with items for the 5K runners bags. It's super easy to get involved. The students, it's a tradition in the student group now. It's a great learning moment for them because they organize all the volunteers. They get the paints, they get cleaning supplies donated, they get paintbrushes. They end up painting about 40 businesses' windows on that Sunday. And when the painting's all over, it's homecoming week, and it's free for the businesses. The students come and paint, and the following Sunday they come and clean it off. So it's a win-win, and it's something really fun. And then tailgating, the parade. I don't want to skip over that. The parades are after commencement, our longest standing tradition at ISU, and community members can participate to be in our parade. It's not just for registered student organizations or campus departments and colleges. So they can register to be part of that. And many times that's something that, because it's been going on for so long, something that businesses do every single year. They're part of our parade. And then tailgating, they can, we partner with our departments and colleges to host tailgating tents during homecoming, but businesses can too. And all of our Uptown Normal businesses are encouraged to attend our tailgates, and it's free and another way to get businesses on to our campus and support our football game that day. One of my favorite things, we have this cute little zoo in our town. It's called Miller Park Zoo, and it's a sweet little zoo. It's been around for a very long time, and it's a staple in our community. And we partner with our zoo, and we host Reggie Day at the zoo that weekend before homecoming gets started. And so parents, families, anybody who would like to come to the zoo enters the zoo. They get handed a homecoming goodie bag, coloring sheets. There's opportunities to ride, as you can see, the carousel with our mascots. In the other picture, Reggie is feeding our river otters, which is the highlight of that day. Side note, river otters are like my favorite. So this is the only time I can actually go into a river otter exhibit and get super close and feed them. So it's super fun. And there's picture and photo opportunities. And it's just a fun way for our families in the community to get out to that zoo and support the zoo, but also support ISU and know that this is a homecoming event that's family friendly for them. The Town and Gown tree lighting happens, these pictures here, these gentlemen here is our university president, Larry Dietz, and our Town of Normal mayor, Chris Coos. So every year, the Uptown Normal, they have these beautiful trees and a beautiful roundabout that you can see in this other picture. And they put Christmas lights in them. So several years ago, when the Redbird Pride Committee was established, we thought, well, why can't we put those Christmas lights in closer to homecoming and light up uptown for homecoming? The university will purchase the Christmas lights and the red lights that go around the trees. The town, you can put them up for us, and then we'll do this really fun event where we close down the streets in uptown and get a silly overly large light switch that does nothing, but that they don't have to know that, and have two of our leaders turn those lights on, and boom, it is homecoming week, and then these lights stay on through the holidays. And it's a great way to really get this beautiful feel to celebrate homecoming and get normal uptown normal looking pretty. And it's just a really fun event that's grown and grown and grown. It is free for the community to attend. Our entire marching band comes marching down the street playing the music, and what I think that's most unique is it's really one of the only opportunities that the community can get so close to our marching band. You almost feel like you're having this really cool private concert from them. Here's some words from both our mayor and our president to help kick off our homecoming and highlight how the great partnership between the town and ISU has really benefited both parties. So this is a fun event. It is not that difficult to put on, and it's just really something that the community really expects to happen every year. So of course there's challenges and pain points and that you will face with this. Buy-in is probably the hardest. This is not everybody's top priority, is to think about building this partnership. They're running a business and it's not necessarily top of the mind. So to understand buy-in and really vocalize and communicate the benefits of growing this partnership is something that needs to happen first. And you need to put some effort and time in that and develop some talking points on why certain things that could take place in your community would benefit both the community and the university. And then who will push this forward and maintain? Everybody understands their immense workload, and so who owns this? And there's turnover, and I think that's really what's helpful about establishing a committee, because if somebody leaves, somebody from marketing leaves Illinois State, or somebody from uptown partner leadership transitions to a different role, there's other folks on that committee that can continue to move these priorities forward until those folks get replaced on the committee and brought back up to speed. So it shouldn't just fall on one person, or shouldn't just fall on the university or the community. It really needs to be a partnership and a committee that has some transition identified, in order for this not to get super exciting and some really great things happen, and then a couple of years later it dies out. So coming up with a strategic plan on how to maintain that. And Jamie, I think, would echo this, is recommending a committee so that it doesn't just fall on the shoulders of a couple people. So at this point, that's the gist of our town and gown partnerships and relationships, and how we built those really great opportunities. And so I know you have an area right now where you can type some questions. I did want y'all to think about some of these things in those questions and see if Jamie and I can help touch on these. And then I'll stop sharing my screen so I can read those questions too. But think about what's going through your mind right now about barriers that maybe we didn't touch on, and did we give you enough tools about how to overcome them, or do you have specific examples? And I'm certain that we faced something similar that maybe we didn't touch on right at this particular presentation, but we're happy to talk about that and think about how your collaboration can evolve and grow. So if you can just think about some of those thoughts, and then I think Zach's going to help me come back to you all here.
So it looks like, Stephanie, we have a couple questions already in there, and it looks like the first one was speaking to our homecoming programs. They wanted to know how many staff and volunteers we have help our programs and events.
That's a really great question, because many times, we attend our case conference, and there is lots of folks on the alumni engagement team. So our current alumni engagement team typically has 10 of our full-time staff. Right now we have 9, and we have over 220,000 alumni. So we have a very small staff to execute this, and homecoming is just a bit of every one of our roles. And so that's why it is so important, the work that Jamie did to build those campus partnerships, so that all of this doesn't just fall underneath the alumni engagement staff. So we very much utilize our campus partners and our folks in each one of the colleges to help execute our homecoming pieces.
Yeah, and I would just add into that, because of the other question, it looks like, was some tactics on how to build that cross-campus collaboration. So what we really did was have to show them why homecoming was helpful, why homecoming participation was important. And so again, that kind of happened a little bit, it definitely didn't happen overnight. It happened a little bit at a time. But as our campus started seeing the benefit of engaging in homecoming and the number of alums coming back and what that meant to their other initiatives throughout the year, like I said, homecoming is just one strategy, but that you bring them back, and then job placement increased and internship placement increased, and the other benefits of what an alumni engagement is all about. They started seeing the light bulb came on kind of thing, and they started drinking the Kool-Aid and really saw value in why it's important. And homecoming was a medium to bring a large number of alums together. And so it mentioned in the question that one of the campuses is very siloed. We used to be too. So been there for sure, understand that. But I feel like it only took a few, and then we started bringing in more and more and more and trying to get people to understand. And it all started from that very beginning of asking for their input and asking for them to get involved. If we hadn't taken that leadership role of reaching out, I don't know that we would be where we are right now, to be honest, because it wasn't, it used to be one of those things that people just thought, oh, well, homecoming's managed by other people. It's not my job. So it really did take that understanding and conversations and a lot of like focus groups and small meetings and discussions to really get people, but it's also ongoing throughout the year. We're asking our campus partners to participate in alumni engagement. It doesn't fall off the radar just from one homecoming to a next. It's throughout the year. And then the final thing I always encourage alumni folks to remind their campus is, how can we help you? That statement seems to bring people on board with our team regularly. And a lot of people are like, I would love to engage my alums. I just don't know how. It's not my expertise. And so the fact that we can share our staff's expertise and years of experience and be a resource for them, offering them everything from giveaways to registration, really has made it easy for campus to engage their alums. And then, they feel a little bit more secure and confident in their efforts doing that too.
I guess, Stephanie, Jamie, I have maybe a question for the two of you, and just how important was kind of leadership from the top to some of these initiatives versus how much did it come directly from your office?
Yeah, I think that's huge. It really started with that push from our Vice President of University Advancement, who also gave us the resources to do many of the efforts that we do. So I think it's very important because that starts with the whole buy-in aspect of it. So if you can get your leadership to say and recognize the benefit of this, then that will trickle down to the deans, and then that'll trickle down to those folks that are the doers in the colleges and departments to understand that this is part of my job and that this is why it's important. So really communicating the benefits of why it's important, not just like, we need to be doing this, like we should just do this to do this. Really highlighting and understanding what the benefits are for each individual that would be involved, alumni, students, the town, each college and department. I think.
Yeah, and I would add on that too. This overarching town and gown relationship, it really did improve because of the homecoming initiative, but it has long since spread into other elements of the campus, which is really exciting. You know, for everything from admissions to housing to student involvement to civic engagement. We truly collaborate with the Bloomington Normal community officials and businesses on a regular basis, which I know is challenging for many areas, but it really has sort of one good experience has led into many others. And so it's something that we as an institution are very proud of, our relationship with our community folks.
Great. And it doesn't look like we have too many questions. We've covered a lot. So I guess Jamie and Stephanie, thank you so much for sharing. Really appreciate that. I think there's a lot to learn from the experience that you all have had. Folks are welcome to sign up for some of our upcoming webinars, both our professional development series and our specific advancement series. And that's all just at alumlc.org/webinars. But Jamie and Stephanie, thank you again so much. And yeah, everyone have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you.